Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Friends, today we are going to discuss about statistical analysis. And under this block, we are supposed to cover 4 units. The first unit will deals with collection and presentation of data. The second unit deals with uh, that will be on measurement, such as collection means uh, the measures of central tendency, dispersions, and the third unit will on inferential statistics, testing of a hypothesis, and some elementary design of an experiment, particularly ANOVA. And the fourth unit is exclusively meant for the application of software, very well-known software, that is the SPSS, statistical packages for social sciences. Now, coming to the first unit, collection and a presentation of data, we have to understand particularly what exactly data means. But under this unit, uh, we are supposed to know about the importance of statistical techniques in research first. Then we have to understand the use of sampling instead of a census. Then we have to understand what is the distinction of difference between probability and non-probability sampling. In the third category, we have to understand what is the sampling and classify sampling methods. Then at last, we have to understand the differences or distinction between qualitative and quantitative characters. And then finally, the graphical and numerical presentation of data through frequency distribution and through graph method. Now coming to the first, that is the importance of statistical technique in research. As you know that when you speak about research, always it is based on how to uh, come with the new knowledge, or how to improve the existing knowledge, or how to reject the knowledge. And when you talk about knowledge, it is primarily based on informations. And when you speak about the informations, means it is based on data, and data is nothing but it's fact is nothing but it is based on truth. So all type of research, the most important aspect is how to minimize the data when you are going for any sort of research, including anthropological research, which covers both qualitative and quantitative data. So data reduction is very, very important. So primarily when we speak about anthropology, we often come across many challenges in our life. And so it is an inherent tendency of human beings that we have to explore the nature, uh, doing some innovations uh, in order to have an understanding and to control over it. So the basic requirements for uh, to achieve this goal is that actually the first important aspect is the data collection. And when you speak about data collection, there are two ways. One, you can either go through census or through sample survey. Yes, please.
ऐसे वो ऐसा ही करके कुछ हॉस्टल पूछेगा तो मैं नहीं बोलेगा
So when you speak about data processing, which include organizing, displaying, summarizing, and analyzing data, and data interpretation, these are three things that is primarily
मैं अभी
uh, is
नहीं नहीं
required any type of research, be it qualitative and quantitative. First is data collection, whether you go for you can cover the entire population, that is census, or you can go for a representative of the population, that is known as a sample survey. And once you will have data, and the next process is that you have to organize, you have to describe, summarize, and analyze the data. And final stage of research is data interpretation. Now, coming to that, why we need a statistical technique in research, whether it is qualitative research or quantitative research. So, for this, you have to understand all research means you can classify it. One is arbitrary, another is systematic. Systematic means scientific research. Any scientific research, be it in natural science, social science, or any field, it has to passes through various steps and stages. First is your planning or research design, that is otherwise known as ad hoc plan. And according to your plan, you have to gather or collect the data. And then once you collect the data, you have to analyze the data, you have to present and interpret the data. And once analysis is over, then you will go for presentation, interpretation, and final stage your publication. So, what is important in research is that the data reduction, because whether you will deal with qualitative or quantitative data, you will find that data reduction is a very essential component. And so, data reduction, transparency, or you can say that you can say free from bias or free from errors. So, these are the basic requirements in any research. So, So, anthropological researches are very unique in that sense. It is known for its qualitative research. Also, you will find that it has its own strength in analyze quantitative data. So, when you talk about statistical analysis, primarily it implies the application of statistical tools. Statistics is a tool for a collection. You can say analyze and interpret mainly quantitative data. So today you will see every field you will find that you'll find that the application of statistic is very common. So when you speak about again role of statistic in research, be it a social survey, be it a laboratory experiment, be it a clinical trials, be it a vaccine trial, or be it any type of social survey or marketing research, statistical analysis is very essential before arriving at a valid conclusion. So research requirement today call for the use of statistical techniques in every field of knowledge. The findings of any research have to be justified in the light of statistical logic. Okay, simple statistics like measures of central tendency, like averages, percentage, and standard deviation, would reveal great information in many observation studies, whereas inferential statistics will say something about. So inferential statistics is something which will say draw some inference about a population based on the sample. But so that's why uh, most of the researchers they utilize statistics as a tool that represent their research findings in the form of tables, graphs, and summary. Statistics means as a mean, variance, correlation, etc. But statistics is something more than this. So I can say that actually, when you speak about statistics, statistics broadly classified descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. So the importance of statistics in today's research, if you see how to go about the research, either to consider a sample or the whole population, that we have already discussed that whether you will have a census survey or you will have a sample survey. Second is that the type of technique to use the data collection and observations, and also statistics. With the help of statistics you can decide how to go about the data description using measures of centrality and you can say dispersions. So but you have to understand that actually uh, when you talk about statistics and its relevance in anthropology, you will see that actually anthropological data are not usually uh, you can say as I have already told you that actually it is anthropology is a discipline known for its qualitative research, but it doesn't mean that they are not utilizing quantitative. They are actually also utilizing, unlike other social and you can say behavioral sciences, they're using statistic as a tool in their research. So you can say that actually uh, when you speak about the statistics and its applications, we can say that it's biostatistics, or you can say that in a modern jargon that statistics in anthropology or anthropological statistics. And statistics, as you in research, as you broadly we have discussed, that is a tool of collection, analysis, and interpretation of mainly quantitative data. When you speak about biostatistics, it is a statistic applied for biologic data. Uh, then you be called as a biological data, such as you will find that height, weight, or blood pressure, sugar level. So many things we are collecting. You will see National Health and Family Survey data. You will find it consists of both social data as well as you will find that some biological data. Then similarly, you will find that when you speak about statistics in anthropology, it covers a whole range of data. You will find in linguistics, you will find in archaeology, you will find in biology, you will find in qualitative data. So before venturing into further, that the basic concept that we have to aware about when you talk about or speak about statistics, that what is exactly meant by a data. Data in its singular form is datum, or the body of information. I have just told you that when you talk about research means you have to gather data. Data means information. Information means finally knowledge. So in research, main objective is either you have to come with a new knowledge, or you will try to strengthen the existing knowledge, or you can reject the knowledge that is there. So these are the three broad, you can say, objectives any type of research. And for this reason, you have to understand what statistic analysis will give you. First is the collection, and before venturing into collection, you have to understand what is the statistical population. So I will tell you one more thing that here, that you have to understand also at the same time what is a variable. Variable means whose value varies. So in quantitative research, it is a phenomena or event that can be measured, or a phenomena that can be measured or manipulated. There are independent variable, there are dependent variable. Independent variable is not depend on anything. Dependent variable is based on cause and effect. That is the broad thing that we have to understand. And another important aspects in statistics is that the process of measurements, and that is the central to any quantitative research. And we are having you will find that particularly the quantitative research requires that the variable under consideration are to be measured. So it provides the fundamental connection between empirical observation and mathematical expression of quantitative relationships. So what are the measurements? So you can say that in simple terms, the researcher assign numericals or numerals to objects. How will you, there are actually four ways you can do that. There are they are known as nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. And as you know that nominal level is the least, you can say it is just give them assigned a number. Okay, it does not carry any value. But when you put this observation on ascending and descending order, you are ranking the things, or you are leveling the things. It is a ordinal scale. And if there is a the other one is that very important, that is the interval and ratio scales. And interval you will find that that is the uh, adjacent points that are equal values. And a ratio scale is the most important actually scale in the measurement, that all properties of interval scale with the true 0 point, which is not found in interval scale. And accordingly your statistic will proceed. So whatever data you have to gather, that will you have to understand what is the variable, and it is a dependent and independent variable. Second is that the four types of measurements when you talk about quantitative data. These are nominal, ordinal, interval, and your ratios. Then coming to this basic concept, you have to understand also what is a population, and within statistical populations, not like the term it is used in case of biology. So particularly it may speak about our town, region, state, or country. So and this and their respective characteristics such as gender, age, marital status, ethnic. So all these things will, in statistical term, a population can be a finite population, infinite population. So finite population contains finite number of or populations units. So here the example has been given, the number of students enrolled in the IGNU. You can talk about till date or in the per one academic year. Infinite population means when the population that contain infinite large number of members, that is very difficult. You want to see height within the range of 150 centimeter to 60 as far as the human population is concerned. If you want to enumerate the number of stars in the sky, so you have to understand what is a population, what is a finite population. Finite means well defined, and infinite means it is not possible to define. And then the target population, that is the complete group whose relevant characteristics are to be determined through sampling. So a target population may be, for example, all faculty member of the. So you have to very specified. You have to either children, adults, adolescents, old age people. So that is, you can say in that way. You can say define the which your population, and accordingly you have to fix. Then the other aspect is sample. Sample is a part of the population or subset of the population. So sampling is the process of drawing a sample from the given sample, and sampling. Sampling the process of drawing a sample from a given population. So then the results that obtained from a sample will be interest only if they convey something about the population. So why you will need a sample? Because there are three things that any research demand. One is your you will find that time, you will find that resources, particularly money and human resources. So because you cannot compare the research, so it is not that you cannot afford, and you have to finish something within a stipulated time. So in that case, you will go for, it is difficult to cover the entire population. So we can go for a sample. So how the sample will be made? It is through sampling process. And within the sampling process, you have to understand what is a sampling unit and sampling frame and parameters. So when you speak about sampling unit, the individual elements in a population of interest are called as a sampling unit. So the sampling may be a single element or a group of element depending upon our research objective. A sampling unit may be a person, a family, a city, an object, or anything that in the unit of analysis of in a population. For example, suppose that you wish to determine the average amount of soft drink consumed each week by 15 to 17-year-old living in Delhi. Similarly, so this is the way how you have to understand what exactly sampling unit. Then the sample frame is a list of all sampling units belonging to the population that will be used to select the sample. Example of sampling frame are a student telephone directory for the student population, the list of companies on the stock exchange, the directory of medical doctors and specialists, yellow pages for business. Okay, so first population, then sample, then sampling units, and then sampling frame. Then what is a parameter? Parameter is any function value of all the population units. So it is or of all the observations uh, constitutes a population is known as a population parameter. Simply, you will see that actually when we talk about population and sample, so you have to understand population parameter is it is connected with the population, and the sample linked with the statistic. Uh, if you any function of the sample is known as a statistic, any function of population is known as a parameter. So statistic estimator and estimate. Suppose a sample n unit is so small n is normally it implies it is a sample, and capital N implies it is a you can say population unit. Any function of the sample value is called a statistics. An estimator is a statistics obtained by a specified procedure through a formula, for example, and the estimator is used for estimating a population parameter. The value of estimate differs from sample to sample. The particular value which the estimator takes for a given sample is known as the estimate. Similarly, there are sampling and non-sampling errors, and That is very important. We often in future we will also get idea about type 1 error, type 2 errors. So whenever we draw inference about the population on the basis of information contained in the sample, then there is every possibility that you will find that there are some you can situations where we are possibility of errors. Since we do not study the whole population, we are likely to commit certain errors in the process. The error arising due to the drawing inference about the population on the basis of sample is termed as sampling error. The sampling error is non-existent in a complete enumeration census. Non-sampling error are due to wrong reporting, recording, or entry of data. There are two level of you can say errors. One at the level of drawing sample, and at the time, and second is that is known as non-sampling error. That is it because of wrong reporting, recording, and entry of data. Now coming to the next important aspect is that in research is that whether how will decide whether you will go for a sample and a census. So as I have already mentioned that for any research purposes, you need time, money, human resource. They are very essential. So census is a complete enumeration. So we have to cover the entire population. Government of India is conducting every 10 years. The whole population enumeration is still pending. We are expecting to this year it will going to happen after the election. So it is usually difficult to carry out a true census as it involves a lot of money, manpower, and time. Okay, so for the 10% survey is something sometimes it is impossible. So in that way, you will see the entire country enumeration. We are having difficulties in northern part of India, in the northern part of India. Some states are excluded. So, but still then, it moves with the help of national sample survey. We are having national health and family survey. We are having nutritional survey. So many surveys which are primarily based on sample. So a census became essential in some cases where the unit is to be inspected are a few, and the nature of problem required data from the each such unit. For example, suppose there are only 10, so you can go through the examples, okay, from these materials. So so census has many limitations. So okay, the main limitation is that it is very difficult to cover the entire. But in anthropological researches, you will find that census is a must. So anthropological inquiries or investigations or observations start with the complete enumeration of proposals. That's why anthropological studies were mentioned as these are micro level studies. And if it, macro level analysis like other social behavioral sciences like economics, sociology, they go for macro level analysis that is based on sampling. So it doesn't mean that anthropologists are not using samplings. They are using, but they are known for their micro level census based studies than sampling. So similarly, when you talk about the sampling, it is a subset of the you will find that it the how to means the relations between the sample size and sampling. The more smaller this sample size, greater the error. If the sample size is larger, it imply the error is very less. It implies that more representation of the population. So this is the logic. Advantage of sampling: sampling can save money, cost of data collection and processing. Sampling can save time as data on fewer units needs to be collected. For given resources, sampling can broaden the scope of the study. If assessing the population is impossible, sampling is the only option. So most of the researchers or most of the you can say every year or every 5 year interval or you actually you know that there are many survey reports are coming. It is based on sampling. The best popular survey, national survey, we are getting all information and apart. So census is a very tedious task. Now when you speak about sampling, how to draw sample, there are two ways. One is the probability sampling and another is non-probability sampling. In probability sampling, it follows the principles of probability theory. That is nothing but that every unit has an equal chance to get selected. So probability sampling is a scientific method of selecting sampling units. In this method, sampling units are selected according to certain laws of probability. Each unit of the population has some definite non-zero probability of being included in the sample. So what are the very popular probability sampling methods? Simple random sampling, stratified sampling, and systematic sampling. Apart from this, many more also methods were there. Similarly, under non-probability sampling, you will find that these are uh, methods, you can say convenience sampling, purposive sampling, quota sampling, and snowball sampling. These are broadly when you speak about sampling, whether it is based on probability theory. Probability means it always vary from 0 to 1. 0 means there is no chance of getting selected. 1 means there is a 100% chance of selected. If so, the value will vary from 0 to 1. So it will have to follow the probability principle. If every item or every observation will have an equal chance to get selected, then you can say that it is a probability sampling. But if it is you are going for a convenience of your own, or you can say decided how what to what not to take, okay, or you have fixed quota, and also snowball. These are very important non-probability sampling. There is simple random sampling, the more scientific method of sampling, and it is also of two type. One is a simple random uh, sampling without replacement, and means if the selected unit is not replaced in the population and the next dawn is made from the remaining units, then the selection process is called as simple random sampling without. It is through two actually very popular method. One is lottery method, another is random number tables. So lottery method is a very the way we conduct lottery. And you pick up, okay, the sample size you have decided. Random number means that is another alternative method for selection. Use the random number table, okay, which is an arrangement of digits 1 to 9. Okay, so that number will be generated. Similarly, you have a stratified sampling, another probability sampling when the population is heterogeneous, non-homogeneous. It is appropriate to use the stratified random sampling. So, in this sampling scheme, we divide the heterogeneous population into different non-overlapping homogeneous groups called strata. So, strata means layers. Okay, then we select a separate sample from each stratum through simple random sampling. Similarly, you have a systematic random sampling, and in systematic random sampling is a commonly used technique. If the complete and up-to-date list of the sampling unit is available, or you have got the entire sample frame, this can we can go for systematic random sampling. The list may be prepared in alphabetical, geographical, numerical, or some other orders, and this consists in selecting only the first unit at random and the rest being automatically selected according to some predetermined pattern in one regular spacing unit. How it is done, that has been mathematical k is equal to capital N by small n. So it has been given example, you can go through it. And so this is the more systematic, you can say these are all systematic random sampling, stratified sampling, and simple random sampling, replacement, non-replacement. These are very systematic, and if you want to make your study scientific, then but it is advisable to go for that. But there are cases where random sampling is probability sampling not possible. You will have an alternative that is known as a non-probability sampling, which is based not on random procedure but on subjective judgment or convenience of the sampler. That is known as simple and so first is your convenience sampling. So in this technique, particularly sampling unit which are not conveniently available at a certain point or over a period of time. So convenience samples are obtained by choosing the easiest objects available. So there are some studies, particularly hospital-based studies. So you will find some event-based studies, rituals. So you will find that you have to make some convenience. So according to convenience of the researcher, they can means cover this. Similarly, you have a judgment sampling. So this is also a sampling technique is which is the research select the sample based on judgment about some appropriate characteristics of the sampling unit. This is usually an extension of a convenience sampling. So personal biasness may be prominent in the purposive sampling. That's why when you talk about scientific research, it is better to avoid non-probability sampling methods. But if situations uh, demands, then sometimes people often use this non-probability sampling. Quota sampling also, the population is first segmented into mutually exclusive subgroups, just as a stratified random sampling in the former case. Then you have to pull from different categories how many numbers according to your decision. And the most important is that snowball sampling. Snowball sampling is a special non-probability method used when the desired sample characteristic is rare, or you want to study a rare genetic disorder. So they're very difficult to cover the entire population. So you have to means jump from one reference to another. Similarly, there are many issues which are actually very rare, and in that case, Sohn-Bloch sampling is based on analogy to a snowball, which begins with a small but become larger as it rolls on wet snow and picks up additional snow. So you can refer one person, and from that person's reference, you can proceed to another. So it will go on adding. So it is just that's why um, it is known as a snowball sampling. While carrying out the sampling survey, there are certain steps that one should follow. That these are a specification of objective, definition of the populations, preparation of the sampling frame, identification of sampling procedure, and determination of sampling sites. So that is also very important, determination of sampling size, because the more the sample size, you will find a greater the representation. You can reduce the errors. Now coming to the uh, this is about the collection of data. Now coming to the important aspects, that is the frequency distribution. So when you talk about frequency distributions, it is the number of times a particular variable come in the count. That is the very simple form we can understand that what does it mean. So now coming to what is the variable and data that I have already discussed. Let us begin with this that we have already, it is a characteristics of a sample or the population. So that we intend to measure. When you speak about the concept of variable, it is a characteristics of a sample or a population that we intend to measure. Thus, age of a person is a variable. So, is gender, education level, or mother's tongue, all are variables. So, variable can be of two types: one qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative variable is one that can be expressed in number term. Quantitative, when you talk about qualitative um, uh, variables are that which are not cannot be expressed in numerical terms. For example, marital status is a qualitative variable. Here you can many things. Okay, so similarly, you will find that language, race. So these are some of the attitudes, behaviors. These are all normally these are known as qualitative variables. Similarly, here it comes that nominal and ordinal. These two variables, nominal and ordinal, you can give numbers. For example, you want to analyze gender, male and female, you can allot the name 0 and 1 or 1 and 2, and you can analyze. Similarly, you have ordinal, you can put values so that it will have some values. So you can add on it, you can say ascending or descending order. But for interval and ratio scale, you will find that quantitative variables, that is a primarily height, weight, age. These are all expressed in terms of numerical terms. Hence, is called as a numerical variables. Okay, and numerical value can be two type. One is discrete type, another is a continuous type. Discrete variable is one where the observations assume values in complete numbers. For example, the numbers of children in your family can only be whole numbers. 0, no children, 1, 2, 3, 4. It cannot be fraction. On the other hand, Continuous variable can assume any value in the interval. For example, weight, height of a person can be measured to any precision. So the way we measure the gold, the way we measure the weight of an individual is it quite different. Different type of scales and different precisions. So thus can be take any value between 2 points. So now you can see that the distinction in variable and data. We obtain data by measuring a variable, qualitative, quantitative, on certain individual or sampling units. For example, suppose we measure height of 50 employees of an organization. Here the height is the variable and we obtain 50 observations. The 50 numerical values that we obtain are ours. Thus, we have discrete data or continuous data depending upon whether the variable is discrete or continuous. Similarly, there are primary data and secondary data. Primary data refers to the collection by the researcher by undertaking a field survey and is very popular in anthropology. On the other hand, secondary data refers to the collection of data from published sources, such as already published data. Okay, data are collected either as a part of normal routine or specifically for a investigation. Okay, so as it has been in a tabular form, it is qualitative data, quantitative data. Qualitative means it is based on attributes, emotions. So quantitative means it are discrete and continuous variable. Now coming to the frequency distribution, as I have already told you that frequency means the number of time a particular variables comes in count. So it may be ungrouped frequency distribution, it may be group frequency distribution. Ungrouped frequency distribution can be used when data is qualitative in nature, very small in number. But when data is significantly larger, then we have to group the data. Okay, and there are various methods. Tally is one method, and we can also calculate the relative frequency of the class. Okay, we can also calculate the cumulative frequency, that is the additive effect of the frequency distribution. Then ungrouped frequency distribution for qualitative data. So you will find that it will give only in terms of numbers and percentage, or you can say frequency. Then you can estimate the relative frequency the way it has been done in the above frequency of the class data by total frequency. When you divide, you will get the relative frequency. So group frequency distribution. So there is two ways. You can see the group frequency table from the given table, 15 to 24, 25 DCG. You will find that there are two types. One is inclusive, another is exclusive. Inclusive, the classes in which both the upper and lower limits are included are called inclusive classes. And when we say the person's age between 20 to 25 years in the above table, in the given table, we you will find that if it is 15 to 25, 25 to 35, so you will find that one is exclusive, another is inclusive. So you have to be very cautious about the statistical analysis. When you make the group, then you have to understand what is the basic difference between inclusive and exclusive. In exclusive cases, we will find that the age group is 15 to 25, 25 to 35, 35 to 45. Okay, when the variable under study is continuous, then it is a exclusive method. Okay, so cumulative frequency, as I have already told you that it is an additive effect. Unlike relative effecting, that is the frequency of that constant class by the total frequency, it is a add-on effect. So it is 9, 12, 21, 15, 11, and 7 is given the frequency for respect to classes. So you will find 9 addition 12, it will 21, 21 next. So you will add on effect. So then we will find out what is the meaning of class interval. What is the large value minus the small value divided by number of classes. That is known as a class interval. Okay. So mid values. So lower boundary of the class, but upper boundary of class divided by 2, you will get the mid value. Then preparation of a table. Okay. So when you speak about preparation of a table, as you have already frequency distribution for discrete and continuous data in the earlier. So there are certain issues that you have to take in while preparing a table. It is required to give a table number for identification of the particular table, and it should be a title of the table. It necessary to have given hand note. It should be given in the parenthesis or should appear in the right side of the just. So this is the how you will design how to prepare a table for your any type of you can say writing a article or a report. Okay, so the next is that graphical presentation. And when you speak about graphical presentation, bar diagram, histogram, and pie chart. These are the basic three things that come to and line chart. So you have a frequency and you have a number of children and there are 40 families and you want to put in a bar diagram. Why you need at all a bar diagram or histogram or pie chart or line chart? Because as I have told you that data reduction is the first, and whenever you are having large number of numerical data, when you want to see a pattern or want to say something about that data, then you have to reduce the data, and simple table will be not give you so a quick understanding. So you can convert it into a bar diagram or a histogram or a line diagram or a pie chart. Okay, depending on the type of data and the purpose of your work. So bar diagram it is used to describe the frequency of cases belong to different categories of variable. Okay, this is the best example that is given. One of the similarly line diagram, you can you will find the different dates and you will find at the temperature. So in the x-axis you will find independent variable that is time, days, and you will find x-axis the frequency of distribution of temperature. So you will if you put every day's temperature values, then you will find a line. So similarly, pie diagram, when you will popularly known as a uh, uh, is used in practice to show percentage breakdown. So 360-degree, you will find that number of a headache, simple headache, unilateral headache, and margin. So these are the you will find number of frequency and relative frequency and the percentage number of males and its distribution. So if you want to present in a pie chart, it will give the proportion and percentage of distribution. And when 360-degree you will distribute, then you will give the picture and one of the example that has been given. So similarly, histogram is a widely used method for graphical presentation of group frequency distribution by vertical bars against adjacent class interval. The areas of variables, it is a not bar gram, it is a histogram, and it is for grouped frequency distribution by and bar diagram, we consider the height of bars, whereas in histogram, we take into account the areas of each bar. That is the basic difference in histogram and bar diagram, and you have activities. So this is an over idea about the block one. Now we will proceed to the block two. Okay. So if you have any query or anything, you can ask me, or else I will proceed for the block two. And this is more important and very common method that we are using, that is measures of central tendency. So I have already told you that statistics is a science, particularly it is a you can say it is a tool to collect data, analyze, interpret, particularly the quantitative data. And when you talk about statistical analysis, you will find there are two ways you can do. One is descriptive statistic, another is inferential statistics. And this measures of central tendency, when your research demands a central value, or if you want to say something about a phenomena quickly, then you can say that average people are smoking, average people are alcoholic, or you can say something immediately. Then that is means here you need to say something about the population quickly. Then you will get you just go for this say, means measures of central tendencies. So particularly this block will give you the measure of central tendency and dispersion. And there are three popular actually uh, measures. One is the mean, median, and mode. Mean means the average, median means the middlemost, and mode means the most often, very frequently that you observe. So then how to compute from one group data. Then second thing is that we have to, after once we understood the mean, mode, media from one group and group data, you will have to understand what is deviation, variance, and standard deviation, and coefficient of variation from the raw data and frequency distribution. And then coefficient of correlation. That is the final aspect of this block. I told you that measures of central tendency, you will find a number of children, number of families. Number of children is X1 and this is F1. So if you want to estimate simple arithmetic mean, X bar equal to X1, X2 or sum of xi divided by n. Okay, so similarly, so x bar, just to see simple sum of the observation by total number of observation. But in case of group data, you summation of fi xi divided by n. So you can example 2.2, you can refer. So number of children, number of families, so xi, so we are having fi xi values, then you can estimate the mean is 2.72. Okay, so you want to know that how many children are there on an average with respect to family, then in that case you will go simple mean. And when your data is very large, so you will go for class and class intervals. So you have to find out a mid value. So then you can enumerate FIXI, then summation FIXI by. Similarly, still more methods are there for this enumeration of. You can have a assumed mean, or you can have if you find that your distribution carries larger values or extreme values. In that case, also you can go for weighted mean and harmonic mean. Okay, so geometric mean. So these some of the other methods are there. But for this, you can say at this stage you can have an understanding of this. Then median means the middle mode is the position that you need. Sometimes you are not able to, you can say, give you can say your research demands the exact middle value. In that case, you can proceed for this median. Okay, so there are a lot of limitations with respect to this. It is not like that you will apply all. I have told you that nominal, ordinal, ratio, and interval scale. So you will be very cautious about if you want to, you know, that where you will use this mean, where you will use this mode, where you will use this median. Let me finish first what exactly how to calculate this median value. So median value is the score that divide the distribution into halves. Half of the scores are above the median and the other are below it when the data are arranged in the numerical order. So median is also referred to as the score at the fifth percentile in the distribution. So you have to find so n plus 1 by 2. You can go for, if you are 7, you will go 7 plus 1 by 2 with the fourth observation is the your value. But when it carries the even number, then you will go for, if it is 8, so median value will be n by 2 nth observation plus value of n plus 1th observations. So you can, here it is given 11. So 11 plus 1 by 2, that is your value is your sixth. Okay, so
Nice, Asmita.